There's this event that I went through more than 20 years ago, and I've been carrying it around for the entire time. I couldn't think about it without getting emotional. It used to really trigger me. And as a result, it changed my relationships with people because I attached so much to it. There was a resentment that came up, there was a lot of blame, and I would get angry. And so we did this technique a few days ago, and the difference now is amazing. I can think about it, I can think about the person, I can think about the whole situation, and I'm not bothered by it anymore. I can see how I I portrayed it in a way that I had designed in my mind that wasn't actually truth. And the shift has been incredible.
Hi, welcome back to the Limitless Health Podcast. We're really excited to kind of get into this conversation today because I know there's a lot of people out there who have similar experiences and are carrying around something with them that they've been carrying around for many, many years.
Mhm.
And the toll that takes on your perceptions in life, how you interact with people, your relationships, and perhaps how you look at yourself and your values and things like that. And as quickly as one event can cause something inside you, you can just as quickly change that. So your perspective is different and you come away with new learnings to see basically your whole world differently.
It's something traumatic that happened when I was 19 years old. And at the time, I had reached out to a family member to ask for help in the situation. And the way that this person responded, I was angry at the time. And that's what I carried around. I felt unsupported. I felt like I didn't matter.
Mhm.
And I realized when we went through the technique a couple days ago and looking at it, I chose this person for a reason. I
Mhm.
chose this person because I knew how they were going to respond. And Amanda had made a comment to me in this process of like, okay, so what were your resources? I think, what were your other resources or other options? And I can reflect back and see myself in that experience and realize that the other choices that I had would have given me a totally different outcome, but it wasn't the outcome that I wanted.
Mhm.
I chose this person because I knew exactly how they would react in the situation. And then I got mad at them for reacting exactly how I knew they would. And so being able to see that and really lean into it and feel it, I was like, huh, okay. Right? I blamed, I had resentment, I had anger for 20 years because of how this person responded, but that's exactly why I chose them.
Mhm. Yeah, you made a decision as far as what the outcome was that you wanted. And yeah, it's interesting that we can do that sometimes and we're making a choice and getting mad at the outcome that we knew we would get.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. It was pretty neat taking you through it because there's basically three different positions and perspectives that we went through as far as Kate's own perspective, this other person's, and then there's the outside observers. And to kind of, especially for the other person's aspect, just kind of becoming them and seeing what the world is like from their eyes and
Hmm.
what is going on and the emotions that are there and just bringing new information to the whole picture. It's not just a one-sided, it's a three-sided approach to getting information and looking back at something that happened with new eyes, basically, and various ones of them.
Yeah, that it was so cool to do because I remember so I was initially sitting in the position of myself back in the experience and I got emotional thinking about it and imagining the conversation that I was going to have with this other person and trying to feel and well, trying to be the person I was back then. And then when Amanda said, "Okay, let's switch and let's put you in the position, imagine how the other person felt." And so I went from that very emotional state to just like very transactional, very, okay, like, what do you need kind of thing. And all right, we'll do it, but you're going to pay me back. And that was what I resented for all these years was the like, what do you mean this person's not just going to do this thing for me that I asked of them? And then to look at it from an outside perspective, like Amanda said, what do you want to, like, imagine yourself as a bird? What are you going to be? And a phoenix came to mind. So I was just like looking down on the two people having their conversation and seeing the emotional person on the one side and then the person on the other side that was acting exactly as they always do. And it was just, it's to see it from that perspective was like, oh, okay, that happened exactly how it was supposed to. That was the
Mhm.
biggest shift for me, was taking the step back and looking at the situation from the outside,
Mhm.
because I saw that there was no like trying to hurt feelings or trying to be cruel or anything from the other person that I had perceived and I've been carrying around and like repeating in my mind over and over, I'm not loved, I'm not worthy, I'm not valued. And I've carried that in other situations that I've been in with this person as well, right? I go into it with the expectation that this person doesn't see my worth, doesn't see me as a person of value. And it's like, oh, right? We create these things. Because I
Mhm.
remember Amanda had said, oh, because there's another situation that I've dealt with as well with the same person. And you had said to me, like, oh, do you want to explore that as well? And I was like, I honestly don't. Because after going through that, it's like I was creating so much shit there that wasn't
Mhm.
there, which is neat to experience for sure.
So how is that different for you now, looking at least that first interaction that we're talking about?
The first situation, I can think about it and not get emotional, which is the first that I used to get. I wouldn't even talk to people about it. This is
Mhm.
tough because I don't want to dig into these. Like, I'm okay with sharing things, but I don't want to
Of course. Yeah.
offend anybody. So, but to look back at the situation that I went through, 19 years old, I was a kid, really, and things happened. And that, even just thinking about that, I used to get like so anxious, feeling so emotional. And it was that feeling of I'm not supported. I
Mhm.
was in a bad place. And I asked someone who was a person that I expected to be there for me in a pickle for help and had a little humor. I had asked them for help and I felt like I wasn't supported. And looking back, it's yeah, I had other options that I could have done, but the thing is,
Mhm.
I didn't want a big deal to be made of things. I wanted this to be just a quiet, get me out of the situation. The whole family doesn't need to know about it. And that's
Mhm.
exactly what happened. And then I was mad at them for that
Mhm.
because of the way it unfolded. And it's like,
Yeah.
it was very, very interesting. Like I feel totally different about it now, which is cool. Like I can't wait to see this person again because it's going to be different just because
Absolutely.
I'm going to be different. So very
And you
neat.
are different. So
Yeah.
what is totally different when you see this person?
The resentment that I've had for really years, like a long time, 2 decades, right? I'm
Mhm.
not going to go in with like kind of the chip on my shoulder that I've had before or the not feeling valued. It's yeah, I'm excited to see this person again to see the difference because every time we do any of this, the mindset stuff, it's always amazing to see how, yes, you change, but it ripples out into the world around
Mhm.
and your community and your family. And yeah, it's
Yeah.
neat.
That's pretty exciting. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that.
Hmm.
'Cause it's a quick process, and I know there's sometimes, depending on the person, there can be a little bit more processing that happens after the actual technique is done. Because you're probably going to have more realizations and learnings popping up as you go through this process, as you see this person again, and like your energy's changed, so their energy will be different, and it's pretty exciting to see. And I'm looking forward to hearing more about your experience with it.
Yeah, it's very neat. And just in other ways as well, right? I had this feeling in life in general of I'm not supported.
Hmm.
Because this is a person, like I said, this is the person that I thought was my rock. I thought was the dependable resource that I could turn to if I'm in like a dangerous, scary situation and felt that that wasn't what happened. And so then any other dangerous, scary things happen and I'm like, I'm alone. Like, how do I ask for help, especially when you do ask for help and you get a negative response or you get pushback or I felt guilty. I felt like I was being blamed for what happened, which I'm sure that wasn't the intention, and the person doesn't know the situation. So that alone is not fair either,
Mhm.
because we're not mind readers, right? But then in other areas of life, I can look back now and see where there were times where I just felt like I wasn't supported, and I created that. I created this. Well, no one's going to support me. I'm on my own.
Mhm.
And how much does your life change when you can open up to that, right? And allow, and yeah, the
And
universe
what
is
was
always trying to
the
give us stuff, right? And I was like, nope,
yeah.
nope, it's not
And
safe.
what was the reason for creating that lack of support?
It didn't feel safe.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the shift is it's very cool.
It's really awesome. We just wanted to jump on today and kind of talk about this to kind of demonstrate how, because this wasn't even long. I think it might have maybe was 15 minutes, just a conversation,
Hmm.
going through things, asking questions, and these shifts and new realizations can happen fast. You can go from being in this feeling of not worthy and not supported and having these negative emotions of resentment and anger and
Hmm.
whatever in one moment, and then you can totally release those things and allow for space of other emotions, like perhaps curiosity as far as what's going to come between your relationship, because as you have said, you basically got the outcome that you wanted at that moment and what you needed perhaps to get through what you were going through.
Yeah,
And
exactly. I didn't want to be an emotional disaster in this situation. I didn't want to be standing in the airport in Florida and in a puddle because I was crying so much and really upset, and so I chose the outcome that I got. And then when I got it, I was angry. And how many times does that happen in life, right?
yeah.
Like you make the choices that lead to the outcome that unconsciously or consciously, you know that's the result that's going to happen. You know that's how the person's going to respond. And then when they do, you get mad at them.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, I could have made a different choice. I could have chose the other option that I had available and it would have been completely different. But I couldn't, I emotionally, I didn't want that at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And so, yeah, it's just to take a look at things that have happened in life or things that you've been carrying around and holding on to. And it's like, how could I look at that differently? Right? Especially to look from the person's perspective was useful, but then like rise above and look at the situation. That
Mm-hmm.
was really cool. Even at the
And this is
time, I don't think when we were having the conversation, I don't think it like clicked right away, but then later I was like, oh,
yeah,
oh, okay. It like really sunk in. So very
it's cool.
cool.
It sunk in. And it's interesting because we go through life and sometimes we make these decisions and we don't know why. Like unconsciously, our unconscious mind is protecting us in some way.
Hmm.
As you said, it didn't feel safe to do that. So you went with the one direction rather than the other direction. And maybe it's because other reasons that that for those who are listening, maybe they're making decisions in life because there's protection involved or you don't want to be seen. Maybe it's in the case of working with like other hypnotists and coaches where I'm looking to help them get out of their own way. You're going through the motions of protecting yourself, or if you get stuck in the procrastination mode, it's because you're just trying to avoid doing something.
Hmm.
And there's a reason for that. And it could be out of safety, it could be out of fear. There's so many different reasons that it could be coming up, but it's just a matter of kind of tapping into the what's the real reason and what needs to be released or what do you need to let go of in order to move forward. And that was
Hmm.
pretty cool to be alongside as you had that experience.
Yeah. And yeah, thank you so much for that. Like, you don't realize how much these things are affecting your life, even 20 years after, right?
Mhm.
And so, very interesting. And thank you.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So if this is something that's caught your attention, it's resonating with you, you could feel free to reach out to me. I do have a free resource on my Instagram. We'll put it in the show notes as well. It's a free hypnosis audio. If you're struggling in the area of confidence and want to boost that up, this is something you can sign up for and get as a resource. And sometimes that's a good starting point because it's easy to had that feeling of I'm not confident to go live. I'm not confident to do a podcast. I'm not confident to speak in front of a group, give a presentation. And sometimes it's all you need is that little resource to make a difference. And it can be very easy. So it's just a matter, jump right in and check out the other results that people are having with it, because it's made quite a difference for some other people. There's some testimonials attached to it as well. So check that out. All right. So thanks everyone for tuning in this week. We really appreciate the listeners. Your support means the world to us. And it's really important to get this information out, because there are so many people out there that need help and that are carrying this kind of stuff around. And you don't have to be. You don't have to be. It can be as quick as this podcast basically, and it can change your whole life. So thanks again, and we'll catch you on the next episode.